Right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the alaracanfieldshow, the awakentohappinessnow global series, season 29. Wow, just saying that, it's like, wow. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being a part of our journey. And I'm just, I'm always so humbled when I start these seasons. And I'm so humbled and I'm so grateful that you're all here and that we get to do this work, this sharing. This is my way of being of service to humanity and to the collective. But I don't always say this enough, I don't think, because I just get right into the show. But I just want to thank you all so much for being here with us, being present, co-creating with us as well, and sharing your light and love with us. So I really, really appreciate that. And before we get fully started, I just want to take a moment and ask everybody to just take a deep breath, be in your heart space, connect to Mother Earth or ground, however you do, because everybody does it differently. And I want to give thanks. I want to give thanks to all of you, to my guides, my angels, my team, my higher self, and ask that this show, the whole show, for the whole season, be of the highest and best good for everybody concerned. Anybody who needs this information, who needs the healing, who needs the resources, may this show reach them in whatever way that it does. My deepest desire is to be of service, to help in any way that I can. So I thank my team, I thank all of you, and I'm so grateful to Source, the universe, for giving me this opportunity and this platform to share my love with all of you. So with that, take a deep breath, everybody. Take a deep breath, expand out, and just be willing to receive the wisdom, receive the teachings, receive the energies from each other. And I'm so glad that Matthew is back with us to share and start and launch this season once again. So Matthew has been with us many times now, and we just absolutely love having him on the show. If you don't know Matthew, he is, there's a lot about him. Matthew John is an internationally recognized spiritual teacher, a spiritual mentor, an intuitive, a psychic, a medium, an astrologer, a starseed guide, energy healer, medical intuitive, and life coach, working with angels, archangels, and ascended masters. He is a gifted intuitive, a wisdom channeler, and transmitter of healing frequencies, right? And so I have to tell you all, like, some of you have worked with Matthew, so you know how wonderful he is. I've also worked with Matthew. He's wonderful. He's also gifted sessions with my husband when, all this stuff happened, and so generous and so kind and so spot on, right? So it was so helpful to have that information from him, have the wisdom from him, and just knowing that he's always there as a friend, as a colleague, as one of my guests, to share his wisdom and teachings. I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed. So I'm going to invite all of you to please join me in opening up your heart and welcoming Matthew back to the show. Matthew, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the wonderful introduction and all the kind words. I'm really appreciative, and I'm very blessed that you've chosen me to kick off season 29. This is very exciting.
Awesome. And it's like it just happened that way, right? So it's like, yes, and it's a great way to start the season.
Because 2 in a row.
Are you right?
I'm the opening day guy.
Exactly. But also, like, right now, we were just talking before we went live, is that the energies are so intense right now, right? The ascension is happening fast and furious, and then we just entered the eclipse season as well. Yeah. So your topic and what we're going to talk about today, how to find your purpose as a light worker and starseed, is so relevant, right? It's so relevant because so many people want to know that, and also they want to get moving on their purpose, on their path, right? And some may have been stalled a bit, but this is the time, right?
Yeah, it's very relevant when eclipse season comes around, because what happens during eclipse season is we're downloading new codes that will put us where we need to be. Eclipse seasons are about change and transformation. And the eclipse that we just passed was a Taurus North Node eclipse. That means the sun and the moon were very close to the North Lunar Node, which is in Taurus. This is all in the realm of Western tropical astrology, which I use. And a North Node eclipse is, it has to do with our soul's purpose. So it has to do with downloading to us the requisite codes to lift us to where our next stage of our journey is. And then South Node eclipses, which we have one coming up next week, are about helping us to get the stuff that's still kind of stuck in there from the past and karmic issues out, so that we are able to continue on our elevated path that is our North Node. And during this talk today, we'll actually discuss a little bit of astrology, because it's one of my passions. And we'll discuss the North Node and what it means for you. And I'll give you some examples of what some of the common purpose elements are depending on your North Node.
And what's interesting is, the eclipse season just started, but already, like in the past couple of weeks, I had already been thinking about, what's next on my path? What's next in my journey? What else do I want to do now? What else lights me up? And so I actually started a couple of weeks ago the stellar diamond light streams that I've been doing on a regular basis. Right. So that's something new that I started. And it's like, it's part of my purpose to share, right? Consciousness, light codes, etc. And so this is a time when people start to think about, okay, what lights me up? What do I want to do? Like they start thinking about it, but they start feeling into it, because their higher self is sending them these messages, right? To them, like, hey, let's go, let's get on the path, let's do this, let's do that, right?
We could call it codes, we could call it frequency, we could call it energy, we could call it downloads, we could call it messages. It's all the same. It just comes in different forms. For example, you might receive an inspiration in the form of a thought like, oh, I would like to do this. I would like to do this with my career. I would like to do this new project. And you write it down and, maybe you start it. But that's going to be like on a deeper level coming in as a code or as a download from your higher self. And during eclipse season, it's like, it's a compacted time when so many codes are downloaded at once. And then after the eclipse season, as things kind of smooth out energetically, we start to really be able to put some of those things into practice.
So I want to talk about what does purpose really mean? So I know, like, the purpose for all of us, our soul's purpose is to experience life, have different experiences, to grow.
Well, that's one purpose. That's one purpose.
It's overall general, right? But there's so many other things, right? So
yes, it's so multifaceted, and it's such a fascinating topic, which is why I wanted to discuss it today. And I love discussing the topic of purpose. And it's something that I've spent years and years thinking about. And I think a lot of us on this path spend a lot of time pondering purpose. In fact, it really is the most common question that I get asked in my practice when I'm doing readings or coaching with people is, what is my purpose? It is the number one thing. So I love discussing this topic. Yes, one aspect of purpose is what you said, living life to the fullest, enjoying life, experiencing being a physically incarnate being, as a spirit, kind of compressed down and illuminating through the physical form, experiencing the physical world. Absolutely. That's an aspect of purpose. And actually, with the Taurus season that we find ourselves in right now, and the Taurus eclipse, Taurus is all about experiencing the physical world. Taurus is polar opposite of Scorpio, which is about experiencing the spiritual world. Right. So what Taurus brings to the table in the context of the 12 signs of the zodiac is how to experience things physically. So yes, experiencing the world. But what else what else kind of is the general purpose of life as I see it? I see life, the general purpose of life, as being evolution, being evolution towards something bigger, better, higher, really from kind of a scientific level. I would say it's becoming a finer and finer vibration, or we could say becoming more expanded in our light field. I'll refer to that as the toroidal field, because I do believe that we are ultimately, what a soul is, kind of on a scientific level, is a field of light, a toroidal field of light, meaning it's in a shape like this. It's in a sphere with an empty column. And as we go through incarnations and evolve through the densities or dimensions, we build more and more light, and eventually we can become literally a planet, or literally a star, or literally a galaxy. as we keep going up. So the purpose of life really is ascension. It's always, and we're just, as you know, incarnate humans, we're not always conscious of that. Those of us that are watching this call and really consciously involved in self-work and in discovery of new wisdom, and in working to improve one's relationship with self, improving one's sense of peace, improving one's abundance, whatever, you know, those of us that are consciously into this journey of ascension or awakening, whatever you want to call it, we're conscious to, but everyone's going through it anyways. The plants are always evolving. The soul of a tree is, what I believe and what I've been taught, is going to eventually evolve into being an animal, you know, and then that animal will evolve into being, you know, a bee is a very smart animal, but it's not as intelligent as a dog or a pig or a gorilla. And one day that soul that is a bee might be a dog, a pig, or a gorilla. And then that dog, pig, or gorilla might someday be a human, if it's what we would call an organic consciousness, which means it's rooted in the earth, rather than a starseed. Briefly, would mean that you've been a plant animal, you've gone through the first, second, and third densities somewhere else, and then you come here as a fractal of a higher consciousness, and that fractal then gets to play the game of reincarnating over and over again as an earth human being. So but yeah, so ascension, always scaling up, evolution is really the ultimate, the way I see it, the ultimate point of life. The point of life is that souls are created, what I believe, and I don't know any of this to be true, this is just what I believe, is being a single photon of light, and that photon of light eventually becoming a galaxy. And there's a linear process of evolution for every soul all the way up to, and that means that expansion never ends. Expansion of the multiverse never ends. It means that, the way I see it at least, that it's infinite, that there's always evolution. And the mechanism for starseeds to be created as a fractal of a higher consciousness means that, like a boomerang, there's always new ways to experience evolution, because once you've experienced evolution to a certain point, you say, okay, well, I've done that. Now let me do it somewhere else, in a different part of creation, a different part of the universe, in a totally different way. So that's what happens. You become a fractal, go somewhere else, and then evolve again and return like a boomerang. So the mechanism of life, the way I see it, is always in place to encourage and to push along consciousness to evolve to higher and higher dimensions, densities, frequencies, however you want to say it. And for those of us, like I said, who are, you know, really consciously tuned into the fact that we're going through an ascension or going through an awakening, you know, we know that. But everyone, the most spiritually asleep people that we can think of, they're going through it as well. They just don't know it. And for them, you know, some of them won't really consciously go through it until even a future lifetime, perhaps even a future incarnation. But all of life is always evolving. It's just not always a conscious thing. So that's kind of the way I see it, the broad paintbrush of what purpose is. Yes, it's the purpose of life is life itself, like you said. It's to exist, you know, because if the purpose of life wasn't to exist, logically speaking, there would be no life. So the way I see it, logical deduction, there has to be life. And in the same token, the other purpose of life is always evolution. Now, let's talk about purpose on a more practical, personal, more micro level, right? Because that's really what, you know, when someone comes to me in a reading and they want to know what their purpose is, they don't want to really hear that, oh, your purpose is to exist, or your purpose is to
or evolve.
But it's important to understand that, because we can filter that down into our day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, year-to-year existence. And if you are consciously able to see that you are becoming more evolved in certain ways, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically than you were 6 months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. That's a really good way to see your progress in just the very small lens of a single incarnation. Because for almost all of us, we have lived hundreds or thousands of incarnations as earth human beings, including myself. And a lot of those lifetimes were just experiences. They were experiences of what would it be like to create this bad karma? And then in another lifetime, it's what would it be like to create this bad karma? And then another lifetime, it's what would it be like to resolve that karma? What would it be like to be of service in a certain way? What would it be like in a certain lifetime to have some glimpses of spiritual awakening, some glimpses of like a lid of a teapot getting lifted off of the crown chakra and allowing for that connection to spirit like never before. But when we move into what I like to call the ascension lifetime, which is where myself and you, and I believe probably everyone on this call finds themselves in, then it's a conscious process of very quick evolution, which is why so many of us have gone through really difficult roller coaster ups and downs in our life. And many of us came from difficult childhoods, difficult upbringings. Many of us brought on a lot of ancestral karmas. Many of us brought on a lot of genetic karmas that might have medical, physical issues tied to them, right? Because our soul wanted to very quickly evolve in a conscious way during this lifetime, right? So really for those of us that are light workers, and that's the topic of this discussion, light workers and starseeds specifically, for those of us, purpose is very important in all ways, because we are here to consciously do that. So when we talk about purpose now, to filter down even further into the personal level, when we talk about purpose as being something like a career or something like service work, as I like to call it, some sort of project, almost like a dissertation. Like one way to look at purpose is like, what if I'm on my deathbed, whether it's today or 100 years from now, what do I want to look back and say that I left? What sort of legacy do I want to be able to say that I was able to leave and contribute to the collective? Because we're all, as we probably all realize on this call, we're pretty conscious people, we're all connected. We're all connected into what I like to call the field. Yeah. It's an invisible field of consciousness of life that connects all living beings on this planet, human and non-human. Right. And so everything that we do, everything we put out there, all the words we put out there, even on a very micro level, the thoughts, although they're not that significant energetically, but the actions, especially actions, carried by far the most power, hundreds of, exponentially higher than words, and words are exponentially higher in frequency, in impact than thoughts. But everything we contribute does contribute to the field. Right. So thinking about purpose in terms of when you leave this planet, whether it's today or 100 years or 500 years from now, or anywhere in between, what do you want to leave behind as an energetic legacy, as a tangible legacy? Like speaking of the realm of Taurus is about what is tangible. That's also the realm of Capricorn. What can we feel? Is it books that you've written? Is it courses you've put out? Is it a charity that you've assisted with? Is it a film that you made? Is it, it can be a million different things. Is it literally that you've helped bring children into the world, right? Who then, what an incredible service that is, to not only perpetuate the human race, but to raise more conscious beings. Or sometimes it's just to bring in beings into the world, and you're not always very conscious at the time that you bring them in, but because of their path, because they're star seeds, that they end up becoming amazing light workers. You were just there to bring them in at that time, and then later on you evolve. That happens to a lot of women. So it's thinking about it in terms of legacy. And then if you think about that, thinking about like if I had like a metaphorical dissertation to leave, if Earth is a school and this is my final year of this Earth school, right, my ascension lifetime, this is my senior year. What is the dissertation that I want to leave on this planet that will be the mark of my graduation to whatever comes next? And whatever comes next could be coming back again and again to just enjoy the new earth. It could be going somewhere else in creation. The possibilities are unlimited. But now then working backwards from that, what is it that what is it that really gives me that deep sense of passion about what I want to do? Who do I want to help? And who you want to help will very, very often align with what happened to you. So for example, someone that, was a victim of, let's say like domestic abuse earlier in their life, they may really feel called to help other women who have been abused. Someone who is a recovering alcoholic may feel really called to help other alcoholics. Someone who came from poverty may feel really called to help people that are in those sorts of communities. Someone who is coming from a specific ethnic group that maybe has been suppressed through generations in my country or in whatever country, they may feel really called to help those people. Someone may really feel called to help people of the same gender, really, or the same sexual orientation.
Mm-hmm.
We feel called to help others that there's some resonance between who we feel called to help and what happened to us and who we are in our lifetime very often. So a lot of people really feel called to help animals, because animals have held a special place in their journey. They certainly have for me. Animals have helped them through difficult times, have been their lifelong companions. So they feel really called to help animals. Some people really, feel, I talked about this in my Taurus eclipse podcast on YouTube, like just feeling the pain of Mother Earth and how toxic the planet is, how just overloaded with toxins, nuclear waste and plastics. And I was talking about it, recalling an ayahuasca experience many, many years ago when I just put my ear to the ground and just like really tuned in and felt the awful pain from the toxins, the literal chemical toxins that is just our planet is overloaded with it, right? So maybe part of your purpose, you feel a strong call to help the physical earth, to help with recycling programs, or to help, innovating new ways of clean energy, or living a minimalistic or zero waste life, or just growing plants, like saving. A lot of people nowadays are really passionate about like saving non-GMO organic seeds, because as time goes on, of course, with cross-pollination, the seeds become less and less authentic in their organic state. You really have to look now to find the most authentic organic seeds. So just, growing plants, creating an indoor jungle, art, art is such a wonderful thing. There's so much beautiful art behind you, I have art all over my house as well. I love paintings. I love crystal creations. I love all things art. And there's a lot of artists, I'm sure, watching this. And art is an incredible contribution to the collective. Art falls under the realm of Taurus because Venus rules over art, and all things feminine. And art inherently is a feminine vibration. It's the creative. It's the ultimate expression of the creative feminine vibration is art, because it's not something that is structured. It's something that flows into a creation, right? So producing art, producing literature, producing comedy, there's so many possibilities. And a lot of people, your purpose, it doesn't have to be creating a business, being an entrepreneur, being an artist, there's many, many ways that it can be channeled through. As I said, just being a mother or being a father. What if you're a father that is creating, we so often talk about, mothers, and because there's a higher percentage of in the new age community, there is a higher percentage of women. It just is what it is right now. Women have been kind of more in the leading edge of spiritual of conscious spiritual evolution in a lot of ways. But, you know, let's talk about men for a moment. You know, what about breaking generational trauma having to do with fathers not being good fathers, right? Or fathers being abusive? And what if you're the first father in your generational ancestral history to be a really good father and actually, you know, raise someone who was parented well? Same, you know, goes for being a mother. What if you're the first mother in your generational history? That's purpose in itself. So it's so multifaceted.
Yeah, and I was just saying that, you know, all these examples that you're sharing are so inspiring. So I'm asking everyone,
Yeah,
what
I
is
see that.
your legacy going to be, right? Because it's like sometimes we don't think about these things, you know, and it's just about opening up our minds and opening up our hearts to really connect in and really tap into what is it that we would like to share and express through us, right? It's the divine expressing through us. So what is that you want to focus on?
Yeah, and this is a good time to think really long term, really, really the longest term you can think. And then you work backwards from there. So for myself, I have there's so many things that I want to leave behind. I'm such a creative person. I'm always creative. I love to write. I love to create content and create all sorts of things. And there's so many things I want to leave behind. So I hope I, you know, get a couple hundred years to do it. And we'll talk about telomeres a little bit later about, you know, the science of really immortality and how it relates to purpose. But yeah, what do, you know, I'd love to even see in the chat, like, what do people want to leave behind, thinking super long term, you know? And then you work backwards, and then you look at you evaluate realistically your current situation and your career and your financial situation. And then you see, well, because for some people, you know what, they are at a point in their journey where they can say, you know what, I've got enough money, I've got enough resources, I've done this for a long time. It doesn't really feel like it's totally aligned with my purpose, or really not at all. And I'm ready to move into something that does feel more purpose aligned. But then there's a lot of people that, I mean, life is expensive. Yeah. It is. Food is expensive. Rent is
especially
expensive.
For Lightworkers and Starseeds, a lot of the Lightworkers that we know are not really able to experience the abundance that they would like from using and sharing their gifts, right?
Well, yeah, so this is a whole topic, so let's get into this now. So, you know, like, okay, so just being very realistic and very empathetic and compassionate, life is expensive if you live in a Western country. And if you don't live in a Western country, the wages are usually much lower, so it kind of, you know, it can be worse. Yeah, and it's worse in a lot of non-Western countries. But so we have to always be realistic to a certain extent. But working with the laws of abundance, working with the law of attraction, working with the possibilities of who we actually are as co-creators, the reality is that as long as you have your basic root chakra needs met, which is food, water, safety, shelter. And unfortunately, we live in a very cruel, dark world in a lot of ways, and a huge percentage of the population can't say that. You know, and it's humbling to remember that once in a while, that there's wars going on right now, people are dying, and there's people that have been starving and continue to starve for no good reason. And it's a huge portion of the population. It's billions of people, right? But if you are one of the privileged people, if you are one of the lucky people like you and I, that has our basic needs met, through the law of attraction, through the laws of abundance, you absolutely do have the ability to create an abundant lifestyle, an abundant life through your passion. And it's part of what we're here to learn for a lot of us, is how to do that, how to separate ourselves from I don't like to use this term a lot, but here it fits, the matrix programming or the matrix paradigm of basically taking what opportunities are presented to you, falling into line of, doing what the normal path is that's laid out in Western countries, getting a job, paying your rent, and working for the man, so to speak. A lot of, well, I never really did, but I'm unique. I always found really creative ways to earn money. I had a lot of fun jobs. But I did work for others. So yeah, I guess I did too. But for a lot of us, part of our journey here is to develop the self-sovereignty in all ways.
Yeah.
And part of that is being able to earn an income that comes from our passion, that comes from what we really want to create. And it requires a ton of confidence. It requires a ton of courage. I can tell you this because I've done it. It requires an incredible amount of work. It's not for someone that wants to not work too much, because you're going to work a lot if you're trying to build something. I'm sure you can realize that you've been there yourself. It requires,
I'm a workaholic, so it's
me too. It requires a lot of chutzpah, to coin a Yiddish term.
For sure.
It requires a lot of chutzpah to do it. But if you can, for a lot of us, that's part of one of our soul's objectives in this lifetime, is to do that. Now, it's not going to be for everyone. And the North Node is interesting if you're a North Node in Taurus, for example, which means that this eclipse was in the same sign as your personal North Node. Taurus North Nodes are almost always meant to become affluent financially, because Taurus rules over money. And it means that you came from a South Node in Scorpio, where money was meant to not, the Scorpio North Node kind of paradigm when it comes to money is like being a monk, or being a nun, or kind of giving up the attachment to the material world, because Scorpio is all about the spiritual. Or even being like a vagabond and kind of just being very unconventional, at least when it comes to money. While Taurus North Node is about actually embracing the financial system as is, embracing money as it is. And I know so many Taurus North Nodes, when I do readings for them, they feel it. They're already somewhat wealthy, or they just feel this intense drive to become wealthy. And don't ignore that. It's not, if you're a Taurus North Node, for example, it's not like it's never being unspiritual, by the way, to want to be wealthy or to want to have money. You're not, sometimes light workers and empaths get that wrong, in my view, and the reason for it is actually a very noble reason, because we see the poverty and the cruelness of the world. And we feel like if we are becoming wealthy, we're either becoming the cruelness of the world, or we're contributing to it, or we're taking from others. But in reality, that sentiment, that belief is actually, this is going to sound paradoxical, but hear me out. It's actually perpetuating the system of poverty on this planet. The reason being is because that system is predicated on wealth being only in the hands of the very few, and the rest of the world being impoverished, and there being always this class war, and this resentment and anger and frustration from the lower class towards the upper class and those that are in power, because they feel disempowered. So that's, the entire system is predicated on disempowerment, on making sure that the masses, that the lower classes, are completely disempowered. When one chooses, and you don't have to, it's not in everyone's path, but in some people's path it is. When you choose to embrace the system as it is and actually accumulate some sort of wealth, especially if you're doing it with whatever is putting you into a purposeful state, into a state of feeling sovereign, of feeling empowered, you're actually helping to contribute to where we want to go on the new earth with in the paradigm of money, wealth, and abundance, all the Taurus themes, which is everyone just has enough. Because when you're operating under the belief that if you become wealthy or if you make too much money, that you're taking from a limited pot, then that energetically keeps the pot limited. If you shift your beliefs to believing that you're taking from a pot that is inherently unlimited, then that's totally different. And now you're actually contributing to more. See, it's not about there isn't actually, for those of you who've ever studied economics, you know this to be true. There is no actual limited amount of money that exists on the planet. It's all just created. And it's over the past couple of years in the US, there's been more new money printed than in the last 30 years before that combined. That's how much new money was printed during the pandemic. There's never a limited pot. It's inherently unlimited, and new money is created at will by central banks. Money is it's paper. The paper is inherently valueless. It only has value because we say what it's worth. And now with inflation, it's becoming worth a little bit less in a lot of countries. Okay, but there's no actual inherent limit to the amount of money on the planet, which is how we move from this cruel system of poverty that we have on the planet now, poverty and disempowerment, to 30, 50, 100, 200 years from now, right? I hope it's sooner. I hope it's like 30 years from now or 25 years from now, where everyone has enough, because we've realized, first of all, there has to be some change in the socioeconomic and the political, the geopolitical structures of the planet, so that there isn't this wealth being held only in the hands of a very few people and everyone else being suppressed through systems, right? That has to shift somehow. But if that is able to shift, then we're inherently living in this unlimited abundance paradigm. And then, ironically enough, in that paradigm, there isn't really the need to become richer than your neighbor anymore. Only it becomes a volunteer-based economy, which is like what they do in the Pleiades, which everyone inherently has enough, and you contribute what you want to contribute to the collective. And for some people, it's growing food. For some people, it's education. For some people, it's writing or creating art. For some people, it's creating music. For some people, it's helping others with relationship issues. Some people, it's innovating new technology. Some people, it's going to different star systems or Earth and planetary affairs. And that's where we're headed on the new Earth eventually. The ironic part is eventually there will be no reason to work to earn more money than you did before, or earn more money than your neighbor. But if you try that right now, because of the systems, you find yourself in poverty. It's very ironic, but the way I see it, for light workers, for a lot of light workers, to help us energetically eventually get there, if we're able to accept and embrace the system and the cruelness of it as it is now and make the best of it, and if we have a business or a passion project or whatever, to be okay receiving money for it and knowing we're not taking from others, we're not taking from a limited pot, we're expanding an already inherently unlimited pot. Does that make sense to you? I don't know if I explained it well.
Yes, absolutely it does. And but it's a mindset, right? You have to get to that mindset of knowing that it is unlimited.
Yeah, look, Angela's from Uganda, and it's like, if I was living in a impoverished country like Uganda, or I would, it can be frustrating to hear something like this. It can be frustrating to think about what is possible, not even just in an impoverished country. If you're from an impoverished neighborhood in the United States or in Canada, where you're from, it can be really maddening to think about things like the law of attraction, or think about the possibility of being more sovereign and earning more. But through the laws of abundance, the law of attraction, there is almost always a way. Not always. I do believe that sometimes it might not be in someone's life plan. It might not be possible because maybe they are, stuck in a place where, like where Angela is, but for most light workers, there is that path through, and energetically speaking, it really all has to do with the solar plexus. It has to do with our sense of feeling empowered versus disempowered in this world. And when you find your passion project, your purpose, it is naturally extremely empowering because it feels like you're no longer just existing almost as like a servant to the matrix or the system that was put in place by the generations before you, but you're actually sovereignly creating something that is extremely authentic and very unique to the signature of your soul, to the signature of yourself as an ego personality as well. And it's a beautiful thing. And that, as far as the chakras go, financial abundance has to do with your root, because your root is about safety and security. And the root chakra financial abundance is more about that base level of sustenance. Okay. It has to do with your sacral chakra because sacral chakra is about passion, creativity, enjoyment of life, fun. And if your sacral chakra is more expanded, not overexpanded, but more expanded, you're going to have more energy. You're going to have more of that Aries energy, that more Martian passion energy, which will give you energy to create. You get the energy to create from your sacral. You get the safety to create from your root. You get the energy to create from your sacral. Then you actually get the power to create from your solar plexus. And that power to create is what energetically can really draw in more financial abundance. And that the heart then is the love to create. And if those are all aligned, and then the throat is actually how you create, how you actually communicate the creation, get the creation out there. And if all five of those can really be aligned, then it's easy to start to, build up more financial abundance. So now it's not in the cards for everyone, because if someone's like, and this is not universal, but some people, let's say you're Scorpio North Node, you may have come from lives of abundance, and this lifetime it's about being more giving up, as I said, those attachments to the material world, right? If you're a North Node in Libra, you may have. I'm an Aries North Node, so for me, I've come from past lifetimes of really being extremely reliant on others. And in my childhood, I can look back and see how that manifested, being always very, and if I'm not careful, I fall back into that South Node and I become over reliant on others. Mm-hmm. But I'm an Aries North Node. So my soul's entire mission in this life is about becoming very independent, becoming an entrepreneur, becoming someone who's different than the matrix society, different than my peers. In middle school and high school, I was very unique. I never felt like I was welcome in groups. It's because that area is North Node, right? So that's my mission. But if you're Libra North Node, you did that. You already did that in the past couple of lifetimes. And it's more about actually creating and integrating with families and groups. So for Libra North Node, that idea of financial abundance might be much more tied into family. Okay. Your soul might have to have you find the correct match as far as a partner and children for you before you can really experience that ultimate abundance. And the abundance may be more about the health of the family, emotionally, and the enjoyment of the family rather than being, just numbers in your bank account. It's not necessarily about numbers in your bank account. For a Taurus North Node or an Aries North Node, that may be more relevant. But for everyone, that's only one small aspect of abundance.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing, like when you were talking about like the root chakra, the sacral chakra, the solar plexus, for the past couple of years, I've been 2 or 3 years for sure. I've been working on my sacral chakra and my solar plexus chakra a lot. And so what's happened now is that as those chakras have been healed, are healing, etc., my financial situation has improved, a lot.
It happens for a lot of people. It's happened for myself too. It happens for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You start to be able to pay off old debts, and it's not a magic thing. It's just when a lot of times when we do the healing, there's a lag period. There's a lag time between when it actually manifests in real physical reality. But yeah, it's happened for myself as well. As I've done more self-healing, I've been able to align because I don't, I think looking back to the past, I think I really didn't feel worthy of being, and a lot of this has to do with my North Node, South Node. I didn't feel worthy of being independent, of being financially independent. And so, having to rely on, gifts from others or my parents, or, having to be in debt, that's a way of not becoming independent financially. And I'm not fully there yet, but I've gone a very long way, and kind of moving from debt into just kind of having. It's kind of cool when you start to move from that always being your whole life being in like minus, actually like going above that plus level. And it's like, oh, but I look at myself 5 years from now or 10 years from now, and I'm not ashamed to say I believe that there's a lot of wealth there, because I've seen it as something that's a part of my mission here. It's a part of my life plan. And I know that I'm not taking from others. It is about, think about it. Don't we want more wealth anyways to be in the hands of those people that are consciously wanting to make a difference on the planet? That's what I've seen. What I've seen, a really cool side effect of this whole cryptocurrency craze that's taken over the past couple of years, is there are a lot of brand new millionaires that are like between the ages of like 15 and 22. And there's a lot of wealth very quickly going into the hands of very young people. And young people are going to more commonly have progressive ideas than their parents and contribute to progression of society. So the more that light workers and starseeds and younger people can accumulate some wealth, I see that as an extremely positive thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, go ahead.
Do you want to talk about the telomeres?
I do, but why don't we talk a little bit more about, I mentioned a few in the chat. Drop my voice is deeper. It's because of the solar flares. I'm very tired today. That's why my voice is deeper. I think my voice is always deep though, but thank you, Sherry. Drop in the chat if you know what your North Node is. And let's go over a couple of North Nodes, just kind of in general. We talked about Taurus.
So I'm going to embarrass myself and say I don't know, and my daughter would kill me right now. She's like,
"You can look it up in 2 seconds.
So many times.
Look it up in 2 seconds. Just Google, find my birth chart, and you can type it in.
I think it's Aquarius. I don't know.
You can find it in 2 seconds. Okay, we have someone who is a Cancer North Node. So a Cancer North Node, it's all about family, because and that nurturing feminine aspect. So in this lifetime, you're moving from a Capricorn South Node, which is this hardened, masculine, structure building Saturn energy, right? That's where you come from. And then in this lifetime, you're moving into the feminine nurturing. So family, how in whatever ways you feel guided to express that nurturing energy, whether you actually have given birth to children or whether you're a mommy to dogs or cats or whatever. Also working with the emotional energy. Capricorn is the very hardened cult, and Capricorn's great. I'm not shitting on Capricorn. Sorry, I just demonetized you. But Capricorn is very it's hardened. It's hardened and masculine and logical, and it's detached from emotions, where it's opposite across the zodiac wheel is Cancer, which is it's ruled by the moon. It's the most feminine nurturing, emotional. So if you're Cancer North Node, it's all about nurturing, being motherly in whatever way possible in this lifetime. Gemini North Node, Gemini is all about the mind. So Gemini, you're moving from the Sagittarius South Node. And Sagittarius is all about the physical, and it's about traveling and the unconventional and moving around geographically. And then Gemini is moving around with the mind. So Gemini North Nodes are always meant to develop the mind. Gemini North Nodes are also meant to be very social. You know, very often a Gemini North Node will end up being like a bartender, or you know, working like as an usher, or just some place where they're going to be around a lot of people. It's about learning communication. It's all about learning to develop the throat chakra and the third eye, the mind, when you're a Gemini North Node. So whatever helps you to develop the intellect as a Gemini North Node is very important. Pisces North Node. Yeah, Pisces North Node is the most intuitive and psychic kind of nodal aspect. So Pisces North Nodes, you're coming from a Virgo South Node. Virgo is extremely logical, analytical, and evidence-based, which is great. I'm a Virgo moon, and I love all those things. I'm very analytical. It's a lot of mental energy. Pisces is the emotional and the spiritual and the psychic. It's ruled by Neptune. So as a Pisces North Node in this lifetime, a lot of times you are meant to become a psychic or an intuitive. You are meant to become some sort of harbinger of the spiritual energies and the psychic energies and all those things that are in the realm of fantasy and dreams and art. Pisces is very much has to do with art as well. Let's see, Sagittarius North Node. Okay, so that means you're coming from Gemini South Node, which is going to be the mind, and now you're moving into the physical, the fire energy. So Sagittarius is very athletic. Think of the glyph for Sagittarius is the centaur, right? The centaur is extremely strong, extremely athletic, both the human part and the horse part. And it moves around, it gallops around the world. So gallivanting, as a Sagittarius North Node, your life's purpose mission very much is likely to involve different cultures, okay? Moving around to different parts of the world, travel, philosophy, athletic things. And by the way, the North Node is just one aspect. And for those of you who end up purchasing my special offer package, if you purchase package B or C, where you get to do a soul plan reading with me, I'll absolutely take a look at your birth chart, along with reading into your life plan and your soul contracts, your past life karma, your future, and anything else you really want to know. But we will also look at your natal chart, and it's not just the North Node. Other important aspects would be your midheaven, which is the beginning of your 10th house. Okay, that hones in more. The North Node is more the general overview of like what your soul needed to really learn in this lifetime, where the midheaven or the 10th house is really honing in specifically on your like job or career. So that's really good to look at. Also Saturn, because Saturn is Capricorn. It's about longevity. It's about building structure. Saturn is about building something that lasts and gives back dividends for years to come. So if you look at your Saturn sign, that's also a good indication. Libra North Node, as I said, that's the opposite of Aries. That's where I came from. So it's about becoming more integrated with family. If Libra is all about fairness and balance, also justice. Justice may be a part of your journey, meaning fighting for some just cause, fighting for those who are less fortunate. Do we get everybody? Let me look back. Let's see. I think we got everyone, right? Virgo North Node. If anyone's a Virgo North Node, maybe watching the replay, you are here to learn how to set goals and to stick with them. Okay. Rather than going off feeling, rather than drifting through life, as Pisces is this drifting energy. Virgo is this really straight line, very logical, goal-oriented energy. You're here to set goals and accomplish things and to learn to look at things analytically. It's another one of those is about the development of the mind. Oh, Leo Aquarius, we didn't even get into. Leo, if you're a Leo North Node, you're here to learn self-expression. You're here to learn individuality. You're here to learn how to be someone that is comfortable being seen by others, comfortable being an individual. Whereas if you are an Aquarius North Node, you're here to learn to work with bigger groups, not just family units like Libra's more oriented, but larger groups of people. Aquarius North Nodes in the context of Lightworkers and Starseeds very often are going to be those who are helping to build physical or virtual new earth communities. And Aquarius is also, Aquarius rules the internet. So you may have come to really work with technology, to work with the internet if you're an Aquarius North Node. I think we got everybody, right? Capricorn.
So.
Capricorn is the only one we didn't get. Capricorn, you're Capricorn North Node. You're here to learn how to build. So you came from Cancer, which was how to nurture. You learn that feminine energy of nurture. If you're Capricorn North Node, you're here in this lifetime to learn how to build structures, to build things in the world. It's a more masculine energy. Okay.
Yeah. So mine was Taurus.
Taurus. Well, okay, that makes sense.
So we talked about that.
Yeah, that's very appropriate for the timing of our discussion here, right after the Taurus North. Right. So for you, yeah, developing material wealth may be very important to your soul's journey, and just enjoying the fruits of the physical world, enjoying the body, enjoying nature. Taurus is all about the earth. It's the earthiest of earth signs, as I say. Animals, plants, just being in the woods like I am right now, some mosquitoes and keep getting bit up here, but gotta get a better bug spray. But that's what it is for Taurus.
That's why I'm in the country, with like no people here, 75 people, just fields and vineyards and 2 dogs and
That's great.
That's great.
That's awesome. Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, let's talk about the telomeres. It's a very fascinating topic. Let us know in the chat if you've heard of Dr. Bruce Lipton. Not Lipton tea. He's not the creator of Lipton tea, but
no, I think everybody's heard of Dr. Bruce Lipton, right?
Maybe not everyone, but probably a lot of people.
Epigenetics, right? It's all about the epigenetics.
Study of epigenetics, and he's written and talked at length too about telomeres. What telomeres are on the end of the chromosomes. Okay, on the end of the ends of the chromosomes are like almost these caps on the chromosomes. And what happens is, as we age, these telomeres actually start to disappear. So what researchers kind of initially thought was that the length of your telomeres, like almost precisely, determines the length of your life. And it seems like for humans, there's I forget whether there's 100 or 120, but there's kind of a cap at like around that century mark. However, then it was discovered of an enzyme called telomerase, and this is basically the immortality enzyme. And telomerase actually protects the telomeres from disappearing, from eroding, from aging away, so to speak. And what are the types of things that really produce telomerase? From a mental, emotional, metaphysical level, it's gratitude and purpose. Dr. Bruce talked about how very often, people work their entire lives at a job, and as soon as they retire from that job, their lifespan becomes very short because they no longer feel a sense of purpose. And not having a sense of purpose, it's a subconscious, the way I see it, and this is not Dr. Bruce's word, but the way I see it, it's a subconscious / unconscious mechanism where it's this belief system that I've done what I was here to do. For someone, maybe it's a job. I worked that job, I retired, now there's no purpose for living. And the telomeres will quickly erode and the lifespan will shorten. Or someone who, is a parent and maybe their entire life purpose was to be that parent. If they don't have a sense of purpose after their child has grown up and doesn't really need them anymore, then their lifespan could kind of shorten. But having a deep sense of purpose and also gratitude and peace in general, peace in the nervous system, these are the things that will increase the production of telomerase and protect the telomeres from eroding. And on paper, like someone wrote in the chat, the fountain of youth when regenerated, on paper, theoretically, it does mean we could be immortal as human beings. And there are tales, which I certainly believe, out of India and out of the Himalayas of people living 500 years, 1,000 years, couple thousand years. Supposedly there's the rishis that have been alive for over 26,000 years. They live in a cave in the Himalayan mountains. So on paper, it's kind of the actual fountain of youth. And just as an aside, just for people to do your own research, 2 supplements that are that physically have been shown in studies to increase telomerase production and really give you that fountain of youth would be C60. And if you want to learn about C60, go to my channel on YouTube, just type in Matthew John and look back a couple months ago, my interview with Ken Swartz, who was a scientist that has developed C60 and for one of the C60 companies. And also Epitalon. Epitalon is even newer in the alternative medical literature than C60. It came from Russian scientists, and it's a peptide. It's a specific peptide that is now kind of the new craze in the alternative medical community. And both, you know, you can find ways to take if you're interested.
I heard about the C60 from you.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Either personally or in another call. I forget when it was. And I tried to order it, but it was so expensive to ship to Europe. It's like, oh, why don't they have it?
It is very expensive, but you know what, Alara, you can find C60 in Europe.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Don't worry about ordering it from the company I work with. Just find it in Europe. Yeah.
Okay, I will take a look. And the other one's Epitalon.
Epitalon, yeah. Epitalon's a relatively new one, but it's pretty. And there may be others. It's possible that I haven't looked into this, but it seems like increasing the ND plus levels in our bodies, like through NMN, can possibly do the same thing. But these are the 2 that I know of for sure. And we need to get to some readings, don't we? But should we talk about the special offer first?
Yeah, we should. So the 2 supplements again are C60 and Epitalon.
Epitalon. Yeah, but do your own research,
Google them, something.
C60 is a lot easier to find than Epitalon. Epitalon's very new. And I haven't taken Epitalon. I can't say anything personally. I probably will try it at some point. C60 though, I take a tablespoon a day. My whole family is on it. So
yeah. C60. C60 is C60.
Yeah.
Epitalon, I don't know how to spell it. I'm
Epitalon.
Epitalon. Okay, that's how I wrote it.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Okay, so Google it, see what you find. But remember, we're not a medical show in any way. It's just information.
Definitely not a doctor.
We are not doctors here.
Definitely not. But I am a medical intuitive, and if you do need medical intuitive work.
And he's a really, really good medical intuitive. So yes, definitely helped a lot with Robert. So definitely. Yeah. All right, so we're going to talk about the packages. They're available at alara.at/show/Matthew5. And the link in the chat. Oops. I'm going to share my screen. 1 sec. All right. So we have 3 packages available, package A, B, and C.
Oh, nice. You're sharing it. Perfect. Yes, yeah. So if you want to get a reading with me, and I'll do a couple mini readings before we end the show, but if you want to get a full-length 45-minute reading with me, make sure you get package B or C. And in package C, we're also doing the Starseed Discovery session, where if you want to learn what type of starseed you are, some of you on this call have done both. But if you want to learn where you're from in the stars, I will be able to see that for you. And even better, I'm going to guide you on an astral journey. I'm going to put you under hypnosis, guide you on an astral journey to your home planet, to actually be there, to meet your galactic family. It's the coolest freaking thing ever. to get an activation, energetic activation and code activation from your galactic family. It's an unforgettable experience. It's one of those, I see it as like kind of a bucket list experience. It's like, you got to do it once. But also there's 16 recorded webinars, which so much. There's, mastering your intuition. If you want to learn how to develop your clairs, right? There's the intro to candle and moon magic. You want to learn some magic. There's the healing with colors. You want to learn how to use colors in your healing practice, whether you have one or not, or just on yourself. There's so much. You can read through all the webinars here. EFT, emotional freedom technique to heal the chakras. We go through each chakra. All about angels, archangels, ascended masters, how to work with specific entities to improve your life, to improve your health, change your reality by changing your words, how to actually, this is important for learning to attract more abundance, is changing how you speak. We go into that in depth in this one. There's the powerful visualization techniques for ascension, learning how to use your third eye, learning how to do all sorts of really cool things, as you'll see on here, with your third eye. There's the moving on completely from your ex one, which is for people that have gone through breakups. There is the human energy field 101 course, which is learning about the energetic anatomy, the chakras, the nadis, the 7 levels, the energy field, and how to work with all of them. There's the putting the past in the past one, which is all about healing deep inner karmic wounds. There's spiritual hygiene, cord cutting, grounding 101. If you want to learn how to protect yourself from taking on negative entities, etheric parasites, etc., how to clear negative cords between yourself and other people, how to protect yourself in all ways. There's awakening the divine masculine. If you want to learn how to use that left brain, that Virgo energy for goal setting, etc. There's the creating the 5DU, which is an overview of how to move through the ascension process and to kind of divide your life into different categories and clear blockages from each category to be able to kind of holistically move into a higher version of yourself. There's dissolving the ego, which has 12 activations to dissolve different negative aspects of ego that we all carry within. It's at different levels of severity. And especially if you do this more than once, you'll feel a huge shift in yourself. And then there's the navigating the dark night of the soul, moving through dark night of the soul. And there's also the a deeper level of forgiveness webinar, which is the 5 stages of forgiveness. You also get my guided meditation feature, spirit guides activate psychic gifts, and a healing transmission. So even if you get the digital package, there's like 35 hours of content to move through if you want to do all of it. And if you do, you will learn so much, and you really transform on a lot of different levels. But even better, for just $44 more than package A, you can get a reading with me. And there's also a 10% discount, right? For the next 24 hours.
Exactly. So please use gift code TACS10 to take advantage of the 10% gift. Okay, TACS10. It hasn't changed from last season, so it's the same code. Just make sure you use it.
And there's 2 payment options for people, right?
Yes, there are 2 and 3 payment options.
Oh, even better. Yeah, 3 payment options. Yeah, so it's affordable for most
definitely
people. Yeah. Awesome.
And the digital package is available right away. It's completely downloadable right away. And then with the 45-minute soul reading with Matthew, you just, you book your session. And how far ahead are you booking, Matthew?
I don't know, 4 weeks. It's usually about 4 weeks.
That's not bad. Not bad. Good. So yeah.
Actually, no, 3 weeks. Right now it's 3 weeks.
So you want to talk a little bit about this?
Yeah, a little bit better right now. 3 weeks, yeah. Usually it's about 4 or 5, but it's about 3 now. So
cool.
Yeah, let's do some readings though.
So we talked about the soul plan reading a little bit already. And we talked about the soul Starseed discovery session.
Starseed discovery session. Yep.
So all that's available in package C. And again, the gift code TACS10 and 2 and 3 part payment plans are available to make it easier for you to access. All right. So again, all 3 of these packages are available at alara.at/show/Matthew5.
And if anyone,
so fast.
if anyone has any questions about the packages that you want to ask me personally, what I'll do, I'm in the Telegram group for the Alara Canfield Show. I'll answer any questions, in that Telegram group if anyone has any questions about the packages. If you're not sure whether I can help you in a reading or whatever, feel free to ask me. Absolutely.
Awesome. Good. All right. So do we want to do, so if you just have a quick question.
So yeah, what I'd like to do.
People may just have quick questions, right?
Well, I think what I'd like to do, if it's okay, because the topic of today was about purpose, is I think if we can kind of what's the word? Kind of direct the question towards purpose in some way, whether it's about a potential career change, or it's about like trying to discover what your passion project is, or your service work. I think that would be good if we'll, and I'll do a little bit of reading on that.
Perfect. Sounds good. So with that being said, for those of you who already had your hand raised, is your question about purpose? If so, keep your hand raised. If not, you know what to do. All right, so we're going to go to Jennifer first, because Jennifer's never asked a question that I know of. So Jennifer, go ahead. You want to?
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi. There, I got two screens going. You guys are here. I see you over there.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, I actually, today is my first day after I quit my job.
Wow. Oh my God.
I'm doing nothing for the summer except for listen to all these gorgeous MP3s that I'm purchasing through Alara speakers.
You're gonna have a lot of time to do that. That's great.
Yeah, so I would just love to hear what you see for my next steps.
Sure, but I'm just curious. Do you already have? You don't have to tell me if you don't want to, but I'm curious. Do you already have some ideas in mind?
No, I love the idea of energy work. I like singing bowls and tuning forks, but I just don't feel gifted at it, or I haven't explored it enough to feel gifted.
I hope, I just as an aside, I hope you consider purchasing at least my package A, my Mastering Your Intuition webinar. I really delve into the topic of being gifted versus developing skills. And just briefly, like, all of us have certain inherent gifts that are based on, in another lifetime, we were able to really, really bring out said gift, or it's something that our soul specifically had wanted to activate in this lifetime. But all of this work, all of the work I do, the work Alara does, it's also skill. And that's the important part. It's all requires development. I do this sort of work, reading people, especially 365 days a year, and coaching 365 days a year. So for me, it's always being refined. So just because you don't feel gifted, it does not mean at all that it's not meant for you. It just might mean, more realistically, you haven't had the time to develop the skill yet, right? It's like, what if you always like loved the saxophone, but you never had time to practice the saxophone? You might think, yeah,
that's the funny thing, because I always feel that I can become good at many things. Like, I do a lot of art things, and I can do them all well, but I just have never felt that one thing. And I've always had it in my head that there is this one thing, and I'm slowly learning that may not be the case.
It usually isn't. No, it's a number of things that are going to attract you based on things that you've done in other lifetimes. And also, when you're working, what was your career before this?
Clothing designer.
Cool. Very artistic. But, it's still, you since you were focused on one thing, you may not have had the time or the energy left over to like focus on developing other things. And now you do, right? So let me tune in for you, close my eyes, and just connect with your template and just see any information. By the way, where's your North Node?
Taurus.
Taurus. Oh, that very much is in line with the fashion design. Fashion is ruled by Taurus. Very interesting. Yep, very interesting. Aesthetics. Taurus rules all things aesthetics. Do you know what your midheaven is by chance? If you don't, it's okay. Yeah, don't worry about it. But let me tune in to see what I pick up for you psychically. it's really going to remain in that realm of Taurus a lot, because the kind of the keywords that I would give you when I look at your future clairvoyantly, your highest future would be music and art. And music being drumming, shamanic drumming, sound bowls, tuning forks, frequencies. And then art being, I see it's dream catchers, and I see paintings, and I see sculptures. I see things for garden. I see little, like, smaller artistic piece. I'm not sure what they are, but it's music and art. Yeah, something like that. Perfect. Okay, yeah, beautiful. Like, and so I see you out, like, in nature, like in a circle with you and some other women and one man, and you're all wearing white, and you're doing shamanic ceremony with a fire in the middle with drums. And then I see your art. I see your artwork, and those are the two things. So very Taurus, music and art.
Cool.
Those things in all ways. That's your way of doing energy healing, is through music and art, through sound, and through actual tangible art you can feel and you can look at. More than, I don't see you as someone who's meant to necessarily have someone on a tape. You could do that as well, of course, explore whatever interests you. But your main talent is, I see doing it through music and art.
Great, thank you so much.
Yeah, I see you with a whole house of all sorts of different drums and all sorts of different cool little instruments. Sound healing, I think, is one of the coolest things ever, because I've never really gotten into that. I do a little bit of shamanic drumming in my soul retrievals, and you should learn how to do soul retrievals. Anything shamanic, you should learn how to do. But you know, I see you getting really, really deep into having all sorts of different cool instruments from India and from Nepal and Native American instruments. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much.
Does that feel good? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it feels great.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome.
Thank
yeah.
You.
Yeah. And if you wanted to, dive, more specifically in your future and soul contracts and stuff, of course, we can do a private reading.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Awesome. Thank you, Jennifer. All right, Georgina. Georgina, you want to unmute yourself? And for those of you who have written in the chat, Matthew's probably going to ask questions. He's probably going to ask you a question or two. So it's
okay. I am unmuted now.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you, my call.
Yeah. All right.
Yes. My question is, I am a starseed. I believe I have Pleiadian and Syrian and Turian DNA, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But I am my origins. Yes, I am a healer, but at this time I'm so confused because I don't know where to focus. I mean, what is my life purpose? Like, I do Reiki, but what else is there? My North Node is in Pisces, so I wonder if there's more specific, like route or something that I need to do.
All right, let me just take a moment to tune into what I get from your template guides. A little bit loud, Georgina. Why don't you just mute yourself for a second, and then it's a little bit loud where you're. I don't mind. Thanks. All right. So what I see for you, your highest path, your purpose, it's really deepening the work that you've already begun to do. And it's working a lot more with the star races, like specific Pleiadian healing modalities would really work for you. You could, I don't have it with me, but it's somewhere on my shelves. The Pleiadian workbook by Amora Kuan Yin would be a good introduction to that. I see you doing some sort of very specific energy healing that kind of looks like the reconnection almost from Dr. Eric Pearl, but I don't know what it is. It's like kind of, I see someone on a table and you're like going like this and you're reconnecting different parts of their body, and also going into helping people go into kind of the Akashic records realms of things, going into the past life karmic issues, like astrally going into the karmic issue and helping to resolve it, something like that, and helping to connect people with their star family. So you're at like step 2 right now, is the way I see it. You're at like stage 2, but it's going to keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. So just keep following the path, keep following the staircase you're already on, and it's just going to get much deeper into involving extraterrestrial aspects and healing past life karmas for people. Very deep work, very deep. And also you're a natural medium too, so connecting with people's ancestors as well, and helping to do ancestral healing. So yeah, so wherever you feel like, you know, how far you've gone with your work now, it's just going to keep expanding, and it's really exciting. I feel very excited for you for that. Does that make sense? You can turn your mic.
Yes, it makes total sense. Thank you very much.
Where are you from?
I'm California.
Oh, okay. Cool. Excellent. Well, thank you for joining. And yeah, if you want to go deeper, more specifically, if you want to do the Starseed journey, I would love to have you do one of my packages.
Yeah, I will. Thank you, definitely.
Awesome. Okay. I look forward to it. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Angela
I'll do one more.
Yeah, Angela says, I would love a reading about my next passion, project, and purpose. She's in the chat. So I don't know if you can.
Is that Angela from Uganda?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Does she want to pop on, or just in the chat?
Angela
I can talk.
She can talk. Yeah.
Hi, Angela.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine.
This is exciting. I've never had someone call into a show or work with someone from Uganda, so it's a new place on the planet for me. That's exciting.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for joining. Okay, so you want some more clarity on any just career or just purpose in general, or what?
My passion project. I've been wavering on what to really concretizing, and I think I'm agreeing with one of the callers before on not knowing what the actual gift is. So I move from one thing to another.
Yeah. Let me hone in. Let me see if I can help you hone in. Let me just meditate on it. It's very Scorpio energy. It's very, what I pick up, very much just kind of an overall feeling of your purpose. It has to do with working with ancestors, clearing the wounds of the land, working with the elements, the ocean, the lakes, the rivers, all parts of the earth. It's like working with the ley lines. I know it sounds vague, but it's like you're someone, I think, that's put here to help with clearing the pain and trauma of past historical events that has happened in the land you're on, or land you're not on, or land you've been to. And so you may be a natural medium, and you may also be drawn to help people through like a grieving process, or you may find yourself helping people through grieving processes. It's a very Plutonian energy. Does that make sense at all?
Yes, it does. Given that many of those issues are coming up now.
Right.
The modality is the issue. Is it through speaking? Because I've always gravitated towards speaking.
I think the way I see it, mediumship is one part of it. And also speaking with people, speaking to the land, speaking to the animals, speaking with people to help them process things, emotionally, to help them understand. You know, Scorpio is all about understanding. Help people understand things on a very deep level. So yes, but also connecting through mediumship. So I don't know how developed your mediumship skills are, but you should definitely develop them even more.
I need to develop them from scratch.
From scratch. That's good though. This is an exciting kind of journey for you. And yeah, any sort of divination will do very well for you as well. But you're gonna naturally, it's just part of your life plan. You're gonna naturally find yourself, you probably have already, as you kind of hinted at, kind of having to see a lot of trauma around you or to help people through grief. You know, it's like it's a tough thing, but it comes from other lifetimes that your soul's attempting to balance out some difficult karma from other lifetimes that has to do with like kind of darker historical events. And so in this lifetime, just helping people through the grieving process, helping to connect people with ancestors that have passed over, helping people to let go of the fear of death, really, and working with the earth itself. Does that make sense? I know it's all kind of vague, but it's just what I pick up.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I
new
wish
adventure, Angela, new adventure.
Yes. I wish you all the best with that. You have a very important role here for sure, and for your country. So it's a beautiful thing. You're definitely one of those bright lights in where you're at on the planet. That's really important right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Awesome. Thank you, Angela.
Alara, before we go, I had one bullet point. I wanted to make sure I hit all the bullet points, but there's one that we didn't get to, which is how to feel a deeper sense of purpose in your daily life. You know, I just want to emphasize that let's remember that we create the sense of purpose. We create the emotional feeling of having purpose. And on a scientific level, the more you have that, the more that's going to potentially lengthen your life as well. You could do anything with purpose, anything at all. You can take a purposeful deep breath. You know, you can take a sip of your smoothie purposefully. Tastes good and so full of nutrients, right? You can wash your dishes purposely. You can play with your dog, cuddle your dog. You can hug your kids, hug your partner, make love purposely. You can do literally everything with purpose. And this is like, I call it like the Eckhart Tolle side of spirituality. We need to always be reminded that the more present we are, the more aware and conscious we are with our daily activities, the Buddha at the gas pump sort of paradigm, right? That in itself is another important, that's the part of purpose about learning how to be a conscious being, learning how to be a conscious, physically incarnate being. All the mental noise, I've been really good lately, just looking at it from a different perspective. And I forget it, and we all forget it, but looking at the mental noise is like, it's like cassette tapes, it's really all it is. There's no reality to it. The reality is, like, I see the cassette tapes as all the thoughts of blah, 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 you suck, you're worthless, blah, blah, blah. It's all like here, but like just below that is like, from here down, it's a totally different experience. It's the experience of the consciousness, the soul. So just when those thoughts come, they're just old tapes.
Exactly. Old time tapes. To change the tape.
Not even change it. Sometimes change the tape, but even better is just ignoring the tape sometimes. Just ignoring the tape and just feeling the body. That's especially important during Taurus season, just feeling what it's like to be here, to be alive, right? And to do things purposely, to wash your dishes, do your laundry, to hug your boyfriend or girlfriend or your dog, to take a walk, to observe the birds with purpose. And that in itself, it's hard to be depressed when you feel purposeful in your day-to-day activities, when you feel lack of purpose in your day-to-day activities. And I will say, the more you feel purpose in your long-term trajectory, which we talked about the first half of this show, the easier it is to feel purpose in your day-to-day. But a good way to actually feel more purpose in your long-term is to just backwards, work it backwards and actually start to feel more purpose in your day-to-day. And then the inspirations will come much more easily to what that purpose is meant to be long-term. And ultimately we want to have both. So
Absolutely. It's about enjoying life, being here, accepting that we're here, and having that acceptance of it as well, instead of just always trying to escape, run away. But it's like, yes, we chose to be here at this time. So, you know, be here and enjoy life. Do what lights you up.
Fully.
Yeah. Do what brings you joy. It's not going to be 24/7, but the more often
we feel embodied, we feel here. Yeah, it's important now during this Taurus season, especially.
Oh, absolutely. And breathe, get some fresh air, get some
fresh
sunshine.
Air, meditation, sunshine.
I got lots of sun. I got
get here, go here.
Go into nature, exactly.
Just chill out,
Play with the dogs, play with the cats, whatever you got.
And you'll see your third, like you can see my third eye now. Oh, where was it before? You could see it opening, but there it is. See, that's what happens when you're here. It's your third eye open.
Yeah, it's true though. It is true. Thank you. Thank you everybody for your questions and comments.
Thank you everyone
in the chat.
for being here live.
Thank you. I know we couldn't get to everybody, but thank you. And thank you, Matthew, for another wonderful show, wonderful launch, wonderful opening up the season.
Wonderful. Thank you for having me.
There's always so much to talk about, right?
There is.
But this is a huge topic. And just don't beat yourself up because you don't know what that one thing is.
No, because it never usually is one thing. As you heard in my readings with people, it's going to be multiple things. Throw away the illusion that there's one thing you're here to do. There's many things you're here to do. And
throw away that illusion that you don't know what your gifts are. You do know. You just be willing to trust yourself. And yes, and also those gifts that you don't have, you can access them, you can develop them.
You can develop them. And also that if you don't feel like you know what your gifts are, it's either because some people don't know just yet, and that's okay because you're not meant to know this second. Maybe you're meant to know tomorrow or next week, or like things come in progressions. 12 years ago, I never had any idea I was meant to be psychic or intuitive. So it's okay if you don't feel like you know it now, but maybe like you're saying, on some deeper level, there's a feeling, and trust that feeling. Yeah, trust. And trust the path that you're on, trust the journey that you're on. Know that we are here to support you. And so these shows are every Tuesday and Thursday, guys. So Tuesday and Thursday only this season. I'm really putting my boundaries. Okay, good. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I do my shows. Mondays and Fridays, I have my personal stuff. Awesome. Inner Circle and my other programs, and then Wednesday is a free day, but I'm excited. You deserve it. You've been working hard for years. You deserve it. So it's time for all of us though to show up. Be on our path, be on purpose, live your life to the fullest. You deserve it. We all deserve to really be fulfilled in every way, right? So thank you so much everybody for being here, for watching, everybody. Listening later. Thank you. Please do check out the packages for Matthew. They're available at alara.at/show/Matthew5. Take advantage of the 24-hour gift code TACS10. Okay, so please do that. All right, thank you everyone. Until next time, may you continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and radiant health. Sending you all much love and blessings always. Bye for now. Oh, awesome, Georgina. Georgina just bought package C. Awesome. Oh, all right. I'm excited. Okay. All right. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Bye, everybody. Bye.